I know the story's getting a little bit old, but yeah, of course, I've been gone. I was in Idaho for a couple of weeks. I moved my daughter and her husband and my grandson there to live now with my son and his fiance and my granddaughter. And actually, while I was there, I performed the wedding for my son and his now wife. So it's been a busy couple of weeks, so nothing's gotten done around here. But we're back, and let's get started. So before we get started today, I want to talk a little bit about CoffeeBrandCoffee. You know, this is a pretty small channel. I got about 202 subscribers right now, which I'm super thankful for. Thank you guys so much. But it's really hard for us to, get anything out of that until we get to like 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. And I'm working on it with your help, and I really, really, really appreciate it. But companies like CoffeeBrandCoffee allow us to use affiliate links to help, monetize a little bit before we get there. So, I want to thank the guys over at CoffeeBrandCoffee, and I encourage you to use the link that I have down below to go over there and try some of the coffee out. If you use code GB9Garage, you get a 10% discount on your order. So give it a shot. If you drink coffee, which most of us do, go check it out. And I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Let's get to work. All right, well, once I finish enjoying my cup of coffee here, what we're going to do is finish kind of buttoning up the bits and pieces that need to go back on this engine. I got to get the intake manifolds put on, the fuel injectors put in, hook up the alternator, get the starter put on, basically hook up all the little bits and pieces that were disconnected before I pulled the engine out of the tray. There's nothing major here, just kind of a lot of little things. Once we get it lowered back, or get the body lowered back on, then there's gonna be some more things to connect. I got to get the heater lines hooked back up here, and then and the air conditioner and stuff like that. So it shouldn't take too much today, but I'm going to try to get it done. The other bummer is I'd like to wheel this out into the driveway to get it done out there, but I learned last time I was working on this thing that not so easy, because this thing weighs a lot now, and trying to move it around by myself gets pretty difficult. So I think we're going to try to work mostly right here underneath the body of the car. So this is something I've been having to try to figure out what to do. This is the starter from my car, the one that was installed before I took it apart, right? Looks fine. It's been operating fine. There's been no problem whatsoever with it. I don't anticipate that it's going bad, but it has 100,000 miles on it. It's started the car quite a few times, so I suppose it's got a longer use and less life left in it. This is the one of the new engine, so 20,000 miles. I'm sure a lot less starts. Should have a lot more life left in it. However, it looks way worse, but I think most of it's just a cleanup thing. So I'm going to go with the new starter, the newer starter, I should say. I think it's got more time left in it. And to be honest, I don't want to have to do this again later. So I'll keep this one on the shelf, so I'll have a backup no matter what. But I think we're going to go ahead and just get this one cleaned up and put this one in. Okay, so I've had these intakes all taped off this whole time. Make sure no debris got down in there. So I'm going to spray some air down in there, get all this cleaned up, and then take the tape off. I'm going to put the new intakes on. These are the intakes from the new engine. I don't think they're any different, 61 half a dozen the other. These were just a little bit cleaner, and so I'm going to use these ones. I did take the throttle bodies off of this one, though, and I'm going to use the throttle bodies off of the older motor. Someone recommended that just the computers are used to those throttle bodies. I don't know if that's really going to make that big of a difference, but I'm going to use the old throttle bodies. Of course, I have the new ones on the shelf if I ever need them. So, okay, there we go. Let's get this cleaned up. The tape stuck pretty good. All right. All right, so I got some new intake manifold gaskets. They look like they're exactly the same. There's a 2-pack. They have the same part number stamped on both. So they're just mirror images. I mean, you just mirror image it, flip it over to use from the other side. All right. Get these bad boys put down. right. And intake manifold down on top of that. All right, got my bolts labeled intake. So get this thing put back on here. Hopefully without dumping them all over the garage floor. Oh, wait, these things have those little spacers. Maybe I should have put these on before, but these little black little spacers go inside the bolt pattern holes for the intakes. Unless you're dropping. This would have certainly been a lot easier in some ways while it was on the engine stand, of course. However, I felt like when I was putting the straps around the motor to put it in and out of the subframe, I kind of liked not having the big overhang of the intake manifolds where the strap was going down. So I just felt like I was putting less pressure on this area. Right or wrong, that's the way I did it. So now I'm having to stand on a step stool to get up in here. But that's not a big deal. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of these all tightened up. Then I'll get the other side installed, and then we'll get those torqued down. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get these intake manifolds torqued down. It says to torque it down between 8 to 12 Newton meters, which is between about 88 to 106, 7 foot or inch pounds. My torque wrench only goes down to a little over 100 inch pounds, so it's pretty much the minimum settings. So I'm gonna just have to be real careful here and get them good and tight. Go with the German torque setting of good and tight. All right, so we'll get that done now. Okay, got the intake manifolds all torqued down. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put my fuel injectors back in. I replaced all the O-rings on the fuel injectors, cleaned them up as best I could, so they should be in pretty good shape. And so I got them all labeled up on my leg carton holder here. Front right, front left, front right, and we'll go from there. So get these installed and plug back in, and then the top of this thing's pretty much ready to go. Let's do it. All right, fuel injectors installed. Now we gotta get the fuel rails put back on those. And that is a little tricky just because, you know, you got 6 of these things to get all lined up at the same time. All right. Now we'll get all these bolted down so to really get them secure onto the fuel injectors. And then I will go and plug all the plugs back in. So this is a lesson when you're home mechanicking and things aren't going exactly the way you think. So this middle bolt for the intake, for the fuel rail that holds the fuel rail to the intake manifold was a little tight. I checked it about 3 or 4 times with 3 different bolts. It's just tight. I checked it against the other manifold and the bolt's going no problem. So just this one was tight. So I was kind of thinking maybe there's some Loctite stuff in there. So it's just kind of a tight one. So I went ahead and screwed it in there. You know, I didn't think I was going crazy with it, but got it in there pretty tight and just went to go the last little bit. These things shouldn't be, you know, all that torqued down. So when I went to go this last bit, it basically sheared off the bolt. So, you know, I said a couple of bad words. I'd probably say a lot more bad words if I didn't have another intake sitting over there. So the unfortunate thing is, of course, now I got to pull this intake off. I'm going to go ahead and just use the other one. And then I'll work on getting the rest of that bolt out of there in a future day. But there you go. Be careful. If this was the only one I had, you know, I'd be very, very upset. Not, you know, it's not the end of the world. You can get that out and then just get a new bolt, clean it up. But still very frustrating. Pull this back out apart and get that cleaned up. Do it again. So I'm sure that if any of you are attempting this, you know what you're doing. Smarter than me, I suppose. I know better than to force a bolt into a hole that doesn't want to take it. So, you know, that these things should be almost, you know, hand tight to go most of the way until you're kind of getting to the last little bit there. And that one was tight almost from the beginning. So, you know, I forced it and caused myself a problem. Thankfully, you know, I'm lucky because I had an extra intake here and I don't have to go through the process of trying to get that bolt out of there before I can move on. So I got lucky in that way, but this is a stupid thing to do. I know better than that, and yeah, I recommend don't doing that. If it doesn't, if it's not going, don't force it. So anyway, I'm just gonna finish up tightening the rest of these fuel rail bolts. They're all pretty easy to tighten now. Not sure what was in that other one. Some got messed up in the threads there. I removed these fuel rails from that engine, so I don't remember it being an issue. So I'm not sure what the heck was going on there. But anyway, getting these all tightened down. There's only 3 per side. You got to make sure you got them on there right though, because they are the what seals up the fuel injectors to the fuel rail. So you want to make sure that all the fuel injectors are lined up right, and so that when it's, you know, pushing everything down, it's squeezing the fuel injectors, you know, into the manifold and into the fuel rail. And yeah, everything looks good here, good and tight. So now we'll just go ahead and plug all these things back in and move on to the next step. All right, guys. So I'm pretty much going to call it a day, I think. For the most part, I might button up a couple little things here and there, but for the most part, I think we're done. One thing I did realize is that I have made a mistake, whatever you want to call it. I routed one of the air conditioning lines in completely the wrong area. I don't know where it goes yet, so I got to figure that out. But let me show you what I'm talking about. This air conditioning line here, air conditioning line here. When I routed this here, I kind of assumed it went to this bottle, but it doesn't. This line here goes to that bottle, and then the line that's still in the chassis goes to the other side. So there's two holes in there. So this goes somewhere else, and I'm pretty sure I noticed it because you can see down in here. See if I can get my hand in there, right there. That's the hose, and it's all kinked, so I know that's not right. So it doesn't go where I've got it. Now, the biggest problem is going to be that it's got a hard line in here, and it's all, you know, kinked like that. So getting it out of there safely, and I mean safely by not destroying it, might prove to be a bit tricky. But somehow, I'm pretty sure that's not where it goes, and I got to figure out where it does go. So I'm looking for the connector on that. Certainly welcome to throw me a comment if you know where it goes. So yeah, just you know, let me know. Yeah, I'm sure it won't be too hard to find. I'll just look around for that connector that it goes to. So this is the problem with when you know, start taking something apart back in June, and then now here we are in almost October, and you're starting to put it back together. You can't exactly remember where everything went, and since I don't do this every day, you know, here we are. So I got to figure that out, but it shouldn't be the end of the world. I definitely am not going to be pulling this engine back out here just to reroute it. I'll figure out how to reroute it without doing that. But otherwise, we made pretty good progress today. Got the intakes all put in. So here we go. Got the intakes all put in. Fuel injector rails are all put in. I didn't put the cover on yet just because I figure I'll wait, but I might not because I have to put the cross brace in before I put it back together. I think it just kind of keeps everything square while you're putting it together. So yeah, made pretty good progress. You know, got some of the radiator hoses at least put back on. I don't have the clamps put back on yet. I gotta tighten those down. But otherwise, got stuff on my face. Yeah, progress is moving along here. So I think for the most part, we're looking pretty good. And I'm hoping next time we're putting this thing, you know, these two pieces back together. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to go over and check out Coffee Brand Coffee. They got a couple of great fall flavors through, pumpkin and caramel, toffee, and a couple other great just medium roast, light roast, dark roast, whatever you're looking for, they've got it. Go check them out, please. You do this channel a huge favor. You do them a good favor. You do yourself a favor by getting some good coffee from a good company. All right, check it out, Coffee Brand Coffee. Link down below. Use the code GB9Garage for 10% off. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Quick epilogue. I figured out where that line went. So it's kind of hidden from you. So let me show you real quick. If you go, okay, so it's a little hidden. It's up underneath. So cowling here under the radiator. So it goes right there, which means that it routes up on top here, here. And now you can see the line. Now you can see the line down here. Nice and smooth radius. No more kink. Hopefully I didn't do any no more kink down there. Hopefully I didn't do any damage to this hose. But anyway, yeah, look at that. There's a little bolt that holds that little piece there. And then I think the plug that goes in here is actually, let's see where we got here. This plug right here. So, yeah, there you go. Yeah, well, I'll figure it out. You know, I'm just a guy working on an Aston Martin who doesn't know what I'm doing. So we'll get this worked out. I think we're coming along though. Not too many problems today. Of course, we did shear that one bolt, which is definitely a problem, but fortunately we had an easy solution for today, and I'll be able to get that bolt out of there later on when I need it. So we'll get that done, but otherwise, thanks for watching. Have a great day.